This show is brought to you by Manscaped. Use the code AFTV for 20% off your order and free shipping at manscaped.com.
Hi, welcome to AFTV. I've got Turkish with me. We've just won 5-1, the final game of the season, Turkish. It doesn't feel like that right now. I just want to gauge firstly your mood on the result today.
It is what it is, man. Too little, too late.
Yeah.
That's my mood on it. I mean, I went into the game essentially throwing it away.
Yeah.
Because Tottenham were never going to drop points to Norwich. Norwich are the worst team in the league, one of the worst teams ever in the Premier League. You know, they're up there with the worst. So this game, it is what it is. We went in, we got the job done. More questions than answers for me. I mean, why didn't we get that performance on Monday? You know, 5 goals today. We couldn't even muster a chance against Newcastle when it mattered. And it's Newcastle. It's not like I'm talking about Tottenham, Man City, Liverpool, United, Chelsea. I'm not talking about it's Newcastle.
Does the away advantage for Newcastle have any factor in there? Obviously, their last home game as well.
It has a factor, but when you go away to any team, it's a factor. At the end of the day, we came close to something that none of us thought would happen this season. Does that make it all right? No. Does it make it progress? No. Because essentially no one can tell me just because we've gone from 8th to 5th that we're making progress. Because we've seen this before. When we finished 2nd to Leicester, did we then finish 1st? No, we dropped out of top 4 and we haven't returned since. So it's all good when people looking at little things here and there to say progress and saying, all right, at the start of the season, no one expected this. I didn't expect to be going into the last 2 games, last game of the season with a chance of top 4. I didn't. But I'm not going to turn around and be happy with this. I'm not going to turn around and say this is progress. A couple games difference, and yes, I could look at it as progress because then this summer would have Champions League football, would have the money. Essentially we don't have that, so it isn't progress. We're in the same position we was last season and the season before that. What? Because we finished 5th and not 8th, I'm meant to be happier about it. I'm not.
What's making you, Turkish, so deflated? Because even before the stream I spoke with you, I saw you, you really were down, if I'm honest, before the performance even started. So what really is getting at you? Is it the fact that, I don't know, Tottenham's got joint top scorer, Tottenham are above us, it's Arsenal, it feels like the start of the cycle that we're so used to starting again. What is the most frustrating? Because it is a 5-1 win, but you really do seem like, there's more to that, like it's still very down.
Yeah, because obviously what I talk about more often than not is the ownership and the people above.
Right.
And with Wenger, listen, Wenger was a shield for them. And I never wanted it to end with Wenger the way it did. But I think it had to because Wenger was very stubborn with it as well. And a divide came. And in the end, I think the majority of the fans had enough. They knew it was the right time to, move on, if not before. Now we've got a manager in with none of the credentials Wenger's got, but he's still getting similar levels of protection. And I'm not talking about the club here, I'm talking about fans as well. It seems like you can't say anything about the guy without fans turning around and either calling you negative or saying you're not a real fan. The reality is Wenger had all the credentials in the world and we wanted better. And 3-4 years later, it's another shield, but this shield has no substance. It's a new manager. And I'm not saying he's not going to be a good manager. Arteta might be a good manager. I've seen decent things from him. But at the same time, look at January. Arteta's come out this week or last week and said, I've done what I was allowed to do. Read between the lines, people. Read between the lines. He's not going to come out and say the board stopped me. He's not going to say that. He's a yes man. Yeah, if you didn't know that before, surely you know that now. He's a yes man. He came out in February and said it was a fantastic window. And I get that because he has to put into the players' minds that we can still get a job done this season. And it nearly worked.
It did,
But the reality is whether it came down to the last game of the season or it ended before the last international break, January came back to haunt us. And then you have Kroenke before this game coming out with a message on the Arsenal website and whatnot and saying, regarding transfers, that's solely on Arteta and Edu. But he didn't answer nothing about January. Do I believe him about the transfers and the personnel and type of players being on Arteta? Yes, I do. But why didn't you mention January, which was pivotal to this season? Because they know what it is. But they're beating around the bush. And we're not going to read between I read between the lines, like I did with forget Arteta, that Kroenke thing that came out today. I'm reading between the lines, not what he mentioned, but what he didn't mention. Now, I'm tired of us getting bamboozled by this club. How can we go from Wenger to where we are now, and I'm meant to be happy? I don't understand people's perception that 8th to 5th is enough progress. When did we sack Wenger? 2018.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming up to 5 years. Mm-hmm. Well, it's 4 years, but it's going to be 5 years next season. I'm sorry, that's not good enough.
Okay, let me ask you this just to round up, because I'm going to ask all the fans from here at the studio and when I go to the ground are you looking forward to next season in any sense?
Nah, because Arteta's also come out to say we haven't got unlimited resources. We know this, but I also know what that means. I also know what coming out and saying that means. Didn't Wenger say similar before? Mm-hmm. The right types of players. We haven't got unlimited resources. All of these things 5, 6, 7, 8 years later, it's the same shit, just a different mouthpiece. And I'm going to keep on going back to it. The mouthpiece before was Wenger, a legend. The mouthpiece now is Mikel Arteta. But we're in a similar position as a fan base and as a club as we was 5 years ago. It's not making any sense to me.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.